Hello and welcome to this week's yarn chat. My name is Nicole and I'm the brains and the beauty behind Yarn Craft by Nicole. And I've got so many things to show you and talk to you about this week. It's going to be a good episode. The first thing that I want to show you is this wonderful cowl. I'll slip it off real quick. That I wrote the pattern for and I released yesterday. You can find this on my website, yarncraftbynicole.com, or on my Ravelry, Yarncraft by Nicole. I try to make myself pretty easy to find online. But this is the shark fin cowl, and I'm hoping that you can get some good looks at, those stitches. This is made with the Frosted Stitches yarn. She released this as a sock set, so it came with the mini skein as well as a full 100 gram fingering weight skein. And as soon as I saw it, I knew that I wanted to make it a cowl. I knew that I wanted to have a little shark fin detail here at the bottom. I was even pretty sure what stitch I wanted to use for that. Yeah, that way you can kind of see it. And then I knew I wanted to have some sort of a wave pattern at the top. And for a myriad of reasons, I did not get around to writing this pattern until this year, but I knew I wanted to release it this summer. There are so many fun beach and shark themed things that I thought it would be fun to release it during the summer. It's very simple to follow. The whole top is the same stitch pattern until you get to the very end. So once you do the border on the bottom, because it's worked bottom up, it's kind of a mindless crochet. It's really good for beginners. And I like it because it uses a sock set to make something other than socks, which, I don't know, maybe that's going to become my new mission because I like to buy sock sets, but I don't make socks. But also, it's fun. You could alter how deep you wanted to make the cowl if you wanted to go a little deeper. I had, I don't know, about 30 grams of yarn left over of the main color and over half of this, of the accent color left over from the sock set that I bought. So you could definitely even make it a little bit wider. There's a lot of possibilities for this. My plan is to use the leftover yarn to make a little shark amigurumi for my daughter who's due in December. So I'm very excited about it. And because Krista from the Frosted Stitch is awesome, when I sent her some pictures of this yarn and told her how excited I was to work with it and how much I loved working with her yarn, she said, oh, I can re-release that sock set for a week. And I was like, that's awesome, because this was part of a club she did last year and you haven't been able to get it since then. So if you like this yarn, even if you are not a crocheter, even if you just think it's a cool yarn, go to Thefrostedstitch.ca. You can search for JAWS and search bar at the top. You can use the code BRUCE, B-R-U-C-E, and get $5 off your sock set, and that is good for a week. So it started last night on the 12th and it goes through July 19th, 2023, because she's great. So you can make this exact same cowl with the same yarn if you snag one of her sock sets for this week. So she's great. Yeah, I like her a lot. I have been using her yarn for a secret yarn test that y'all helped me pick last week, and I can't show it to you, but it's gorgeous the way it's coming out. And it's a pretty short pattern test, so I'll be able to show it to you soon enough. But the oranges and the browns and the creams of that tradition colorway that I had you vote on last week or 2 weeks ago, the last podcast, it's working out great. So very excited about that. So what else have I been working on? Oh, so this is the featured make. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place today. The other thing I've got here on my Francesca mannequin is the acai top from Mara Make Stuff. I did this as a pattern test earlier this year. She's got a lot of cool garments. There's a tank top. There's like a long sleeve pullover that Mara Make Stuff I think is having in testing right now. She makes some cool things, and this one is cool because it uses the linen stitch side to side, so it has a decent amount of stretch, but it also is built with a lot of positive ease. So if you want something kind of flowy and casual for summer, acai top, Mara makes stuff. Here, I'll turn so you can see. It's got a lovely v-neck, super cute. And a couple of the designers, or sorry, a couple of the testers made theirs 3/4 length sleeves, and it looks super, super cute. Okay, so let's start with finished objects. This was my first one. I finished this in the car, I think, in Seattle when we were visiting my sister last week. She lived about an hour outside of the city, so anytime that we went into Seattle proper, it was a decent car ride. And yeah, so I finished this with her, and it came out so cute. I'm also going to hold it up because this color pooling, I was not sure was going to happen. I tried a different stitch pattern originally, and it was a little bit more scattered, but I love the way that this came out. Not intentional, but super cool. So I finished this, and that was the first thing that I finished while I was in Seattle. But I also worked on a couple of the letters for the alphabet blanket by Sass and Stitch that I'm making for my little girl who's due in December. I have 5. I had 5 squares the last time we talked about this that were that pretty green background, and then these are neutral, and they have not been blocked, so they're a little curlier than the other ones. So I did the letter I did the letter G, and I did the letter P. I've got 2 more to do with this colorway, but I don't know that I will have enough because this was a partial skein. I had used some of the skein for something else, and because it's a 2-ply yarn instead of a 4-ply fingering weight yarn, it's a little fluffier. Basically the way that the yarn is put together, the way that it is twisted together, the more plies you have, usually the smoother the yarn is. This one's a little plumper because it's just 2 plies. It's the short answer. It also means that it's working up a little bit thicker, but not so much that it's going to be an issue once I block it, because these are all going to be scattered, so it'll work out fine. I've got 2 more of these, so what I probably will do, I should have enough for 1 more letter, and then for the last letter, I'll use a mini skein that I have, which will be great, because I've got 3 mini skeins that I don't know where they're going to go yet. The background color for this one is from Emma's Yarn. It's the colorway Beach. No, it's colorway Beach, please. And then I'm using Malabrigo, I think it's called Midnights, for the contrast color on all of my squares. So I'm really liking this. I thought I was going to get more of these done in Seattle, but it was nice to be too busy to crochet most of the time. But I like these a lot. What I have noticed, and that will lead into my next project, is I had a lot of fingering weight projects going all at the same time. Fingering weight is a very, very thin yarn, and it was just killing my hands. Like, it's just too many tiny stitches. So after I finished P, I think this is the last one I finished, I kind of stopped working on the squares for a little while, picked up the secret pattern test that's also fingering weight. This was fingering weight. Decided to work on these 2 and kind of put this on the back burner. But now that this is done and the secret pattern test is halfway done, probably when I'm finished with that, I will pick these back up. But I love them. They're so cute. I can't wait to get into all the other colors. I've got like a really pretty light blue, almost the color of my shirt actually, that I'll do for the next color, which will be fun. So worked on those. And because I had so many fingering weight projects going at once, and because I had waited too long probably to start on this next project, I started this as soon as we got back from Seattle. It's the Honey to the Bee jumper by Manatee Squares. I made a t-shirt version, and I made it for a costume. So first let me show you what it looks like. It's got this really pretty eyelet hexagon pattern down here at the bottom, And then the original pattern has a turtleneck as well as long sleeve. Because I am using this for a costume that I'll be wearing in California in July, I did not make mine long sleeve, but I did use the same weight of yarn. I used the worsted weight yarn, and it's so stinking cute, and it worked up very quickly. I think I started this on Saturday and finished it last night. So it was a quick make, and I like it a lot. I did alter the neckline a little bit. I did some decreasing just around the neck instead of having straight lines because I wasn't doing the turtleneck. I wanted something a little bit more flattering. But other than that, I pretty much followed the pattern. I didn't do a split hem. That was the other thing I didn't do. So let me tell you about the costume, because you will see pictures of it next weekend. Me and my husband and my husband's siblings, all of my brothers and sister-in-law are going to Comic-Con in San Diego next weekend. I have never been. I'm very excited. My husband has been before with one of his brothers, and one, it's just going to be really fun because it's a new experience. Two, it's with family. Always a good time to spend with family. And my husband is a very big nerd. I am too, but he's like next level. So it'll be fun to kind of experience this with him. And because we're going to Comic-Con, I want to dress up, of course. So I have a deep love of Scarlet Witch. WandaVision was great on Disney Plus. If you haven't watched it, it's so good. I love her as the villain in Doctor Strange. Why can't I remember what it's called? Multiverse of Madness. She's just complicated. She's good. She's a good villain or hero. Love her. Anyway, as part of the Disney Plus series, they talk about the hex and the hexagon and why that is important in her story. So I thought it would be fun if I got a Scarlet Witch tiara, which I bought on Etsy, and then wore a hexagon tee with some black leggings and some boots, and had a cute, like, crafty version of Scarlet Witch. So I am very excited about that. I love the way that this fits. I love the way that this feels. I'm a little worried it's gonna be too warm, but other than that, I think it's gonna be really cute. So I finished this, like I said, last night. It's still a little damp. I did block it. So let me talk about the yarn. The yarn is Alpaca Warehouse Breeze Alpaca yarn. Hopefully it's, yeah, there we go. Somebody gifted this to me, which was very kind of them. And they had, I think there were 6 skeins of the red color and then maybe 4 of a white color. And they were just like, we bought too much for something we were gonna do, and we know that you use yarn. Do you want it? I said, sure. And in the skein, it's not crazy soft, but it's soft enough. It's, I think it's 15%, yeah, 15% alpaca, 85% acrylic. It's a worsted weight yarn. However, once I was crocheting with it, it just felt scratchy. Like it felt almost like a polyester, like a cheap polyester yarn. So I did hand wash it and throw wool wash in there too. It has softened some, and because this has that eyelet detail, it's not like I could wear this without something under it anyway. So it's fine for this application, but I probably wouldn't use this yarn again. In fact, I've got like a skein and a half left of the red, and now that I've used it, I think I'm gonna just donate this, the red as well as the white, because it probably would be good for maybe home decor items or something that are not gonna be next to your skin as much, but I just can't see myself using it again. However, it did allow me to make a whole sweater without spending any money on yarn because it was gifted to me. So I'm very thankful for it. And the color is great. The color looks good. You really can't see much of the fuzziness from the alpaca. So just FYI about the yarn. I think that's it. I think that's all that I finished. And I can't show you the pattern test that I'm working on. So I do want to show you something that I'm thinking about for my next project before we get into yarn love, because I've got a lot of cool things to show you for yarn love. Because I have done so many, I don't know, fingering weight projects, more accessories than normal, baby blankets, and now that I've done that tee, I really wanted to do, or I really want to do, my next project that's a tank top. It is hot here in New York. It is humid, it is muggy. I have been living in tank tops that are loose and flowy, that can go over the baby bump with no issue. And so I think for my next make, I want to try a tank top that has been on my list for a little while and should still fit right now, because baby bump is not very large right now. So the tank top that I want to make is called the Chasing Summer Tank by Knits and Knots, Janine Miska, and she's great. I've made a couple of her patterns before, and I went stash diving to see what I already had that would work, because she has a fingering weight version and a DK weight version. And the way that the pattern is written, you basically make like two, I don't know, oblong triangles to go over your two front panels, and then you have a straight one along the back, and then you make the straps. So I went to my stash and found these that I bought to make a nursing cover for someone last year, and the nursing cover came out super cute. I just bought too much yarn for it because I never made a nursing cover before. So I've got this yarn from Yarn Bee. The name of the yarn is Yarntopia. So this is one color that I have, Cerulean C, and then I also have Cerulean. And I've got two skeins that are mostly full of the darker blue. It's 100% acrylic. It is very soft. I think it will be very lightweight to wear. And the way that I'm intending to do this is to do the front panels in the dark blue, see if that's enough, and then do the back panel in the light blue, as well as the straps and any edging. I think that'll look cute. I think that's something I already have in my stash that's easy to care for yarn. So you will probably see that on the next podcast. And it's a DK weight. I don't know if I said that. Oh no, it's labeled as a sport. Yeah, I don't know, sporty DK. It'll be better than acrylic. This one I've been using nonstop. Okay, it's now time for yarn love. Like I have mentioned a couple of times in this video, we went to go see my sister in Seattle last week, which was so much fun. We got to explore the city. My husband was stationed in Tacoma when he was in the Army, so he kind of knew the area, but we definitely explored some new places that neither of us had been to before, and got to try some delicious food. We had really great Cuban sandwiches one day, and we had pierogies another day. It was a very good trip, and of course I got to see my sister, and that's always fun. I did post a few pictures on Insta if you follow me there, but because we were traveling, and because both my sister and my husband know me so well, we went to a couple of yarn shops, which is fun. And in fact, the first one that we went to, they were like, "Oh, y'all are being yarn tourists, how cool." I'm like, yes, like I'm glad that there's a term for this, being a yarn tourist. So we went to two shops, and I'm going to show you what I got at both. So the first shop we went to, oh, before I do that, I forgot to show you this one. This is from New York. We stopped in this little place on our way to dinner to visit a friend, and I bought yarn and I didn't show it to you. So this is Rosie's Colors yarn in the colorway Miss Americana. Apparently she names all of her colorways Taylor Swift theme. It's a 50% silk, 50% superwash blend, and it's a DK weight. And this was from a local yarn store in the West Village. Why can't I remember the name of it? I will put it in the description below. Super cute. They also had a lot of needlepoint. Adorable. So I didn't show it to you, but now I can. I'm gonna put it up here now that we talked about it. So let me switch gears and talk to you about where we went first. So the first place that we went to was called Tea Cozy Yarn Shop. And it was not in Seattle proper, but it was pretty close. It was on the north side of Seattle because it was closer to where my sister lived. And I actually found out about it someone recommended it on Instagram to me, which was very nice, thank you. And it was really close to where we got lunch one day, so we just popped in. So as the name suggests, they don't just have yarn, they also sold tea. So I got myself a wonderful green tea, which I haven't tried yet. Maybe I'll try that tomorrow morning with breakfast because that looks really good. I haven't wanted coffee the past couple of days, so that would be delicious. They also had really cute mugs and tea pots, but we have far too many mugs, so I didn't even let myself look at those. I also got this really cute tape measure. It's a sheep. It's a little crocheted sheep. It's adorable, and why not? But then I looked at yarn. So I looked at a lot of different types of yarn, and usually when I am a yarn tourist, I will ask what they have that's locally dyed or locally spun, locally made, anything that I can just get there. And this particular shop didn't really have that. One of the dyers that they had been working with had recently moved, so they didn't have anything that was specific to the shop, excuse me, but they did have glorious yarn. So let me show you what I got. The first thing I got was this skein of La Bien, I believe it's La Bien Aimee, is how you say it. And it's really not coming through on camera, but it's this bright pink and red combo that is amazing. It is their cashmerino base, which is 75% superwash merino, 15% cashmere, 10% nylon. It's so soft and squishy. And the name of this colorway, I believe it was something funky. Yes, Aimee's Flashy Lipstick. And I like it because, like, obviously the pink is great, but those little bits of red in there too, it's just good. And I hadn't seen anything like that. So I walked around with this knowing that I wanted to purchase this. And I've gotten one skein from this company before here in New York. It's also really squishy, also very soft, and I haven't used it yet because it felt too special to use. But I'm really excited to work with this. I think it's going to be great, and I've heard really good things about this yarn. Because it's a cashmere and merino base, it was a little bit more pricey. I think this skein cost me 40 bucks instead of usually a hand-dyed yarn will range anywhere between like 28, 34 kind of thing. But depending on what the base is, depending on what's in the yarn, that price can go up and down. So I'm very excited about this. And then I also got this mini skein from Hedgehog Fibers called Fool's Gold. See if it'll focus on that for me. It's really trying to get my face. Okay, don't play games with me. And I got them because I thought they looked really good together. There you go. I'm thinking some sort of a shawl. Who knows what this will become. But what I have discovered is that when I am a yarn tourist, it's nice to get two things that kind of go together, so that you have more options when you're picking your next project. I love these. Two different companies. Like I said, this one is from Hedgehog Fibers. It's called Fool's Gold. They had a bunch of fun minis, and yeah, this is the one that spoke to me. So that was my purchase. I'll hold it up for you one more time, if it'll let me. And then my sister also had fun yarn shopping and fell in love with these two colors from Rowan. They're the felted tweed line. The top one, I believe, is mineral, and the bottom one is lotus leaf. And they're really lovely. They are 50% wool, 25% alpaca, and then 25% viscose. That viscose is the little neps in the tweed, and it's got a good toothiness. Basically means it's a little bit grippier. It's not super sleek or slippery. And I think that she wants a little infinity scarf or cowl kind of like this made up, but she just really liked these colors. So she purchased these, and then I get the pleasure of figuring out what they want to become. So that was a lot of fun. And the ladies that were working there at Tea Cozy Yarn Shop were delightful, very fun. enjoyed the goofy conversations that we were having as me, my husband, and my sister were yarn shopping. And really lovely atmosphere, great shop, loved them a lot. The other shop that we went to, I had seen online when I was searching for yarn stores in Seattle, and it was pretty close to where we did like our Seattle touristy day when we went to Pike's Place, shopped around the market a little bit, met up with a friend, and this one was just called Seattle Yarn, and it was a much larger shop. They did have locally dyed yarns, and so I had a lot of fun shopping there. Their staff was also very knowledgeable, and they had lots of things. Like, they had a little bit more notions, a wide variety of yarns, a lot more tools than were in the other shops. So depending on what you're looking for, if you're in the Seattle area, both shops are great. That's just the difference between Tico's Yarn Shop and then Seattle Yarn. So because they had Seattle yarn, this is from the company Seattle Dyeworks, and the name of this color is Salmon Run. How perfect is that? We actually got to see some salmon when we went to the locks, which was a lot of fun. So I was like, oh, I should get some salmon yarn. And I don't really have much in my stash that's like light pink and gray. It's not usually what I gravitate towards, but I couldn't put it down. It's just too pretty. And this base was interesting too, because it is, one, it's a little bit bigger than a normal hank. This is 115 grams instead of 100 grams. And it's 70% superwash merino and 30% silk. So it's got some of the sleekness. Come on, you know you want to focus. There we go. Sleekness and shine of silk, with also having that superwash base, and it's very nice and very bouncy. I don't know what it'll become. Probably a shawl of some kind. I have an idea of doing a very simple mesh shawl and calling it a fisherman shawl. Maybe Salmon Run yarn is perfect for that. Who knows? But that was the first one that I bought. And again, I don't even want to put it down because it's so soft and it feels really lovely. And they had a lot of Seattle themed yarns. Like, there was one that was called Space Needle, which was like speckled with gray and white. And that was really pretty. That one almost came home with me. And then they had one that was red, black, and white that was called Murder Yarn. And then they had one that was called The Sound, which I think was green. It had some really pretty colors. So, but this is the one that I picked up from them, Seattle Dyeworks. And then this one is from Knitted Wit. This was their Her Story colorway of the month. And it's called Passing the Test. And this is where I'm going to nerd out a little bit. I love history. I was a history major. I taught history, and I love history podcasts. I learned a bunch of goofy things and lots of really important things from podcasts. But as soon as I saw that it was a Her Story and it was called Passing the Test, and I think they might have even had something up that said Bechdel, I was like, I get it. I understand what this is about. So if you haven't heard of the Bechdel test, basically it started from a cartoonist. Her last name was Bechdel. I don't remember her first name off the top of my head, but in the cartoon, it was basically saying that if a movie or a TV show doesn't have two women with named parts talking to each other about something other than a man, it's not representative of women. And there are so many movies that don't pass this Bechdel test of having named women characters who talk to each other, and not just men, about something other than men. So I thought that was really cool. And as soon as I understood it, like, I explained it to my husband and my sister, and it's like, let me tell you what this is about. And so after I did that, they're like, well, now you have to buy the yarn. And I really liked it anyway. I love these colors together. It's a worsted weight yarn, and no idea what this will become. It would be really cute as a hat. I don't wear many hats, so we'll see. We'll see what this becomes. But it's super cute. There's 200 yards in here. I think it's from Knitted Wit. They do a Her Story Club every month that recognizes famous women in history, or women that should be famous that are in history. So I like this a lot. And then of course I checked out their pins. I got one with their logo, excuse me, one with their logo, and there we go. And then I also got this one down here that says Yarn Chicken Champ, which I also explained to my husband what that meant and why that was funny. So I'll throw these on my canvas bag that has all of my other enamel pins. And guys, I've cleared out this part of my shelf, so that's all of the yarn that I have to talk to you about this week. It has been a busy week. It's been nice to come back home, snuggle with our Scoot, kind of settle back into our normal routine. And yeah, it's been good to be home. I should be able to record another podcast for you next week. We are leaving for Comic-Con next weekend, but we don't leave until Thursday night, so I should still be able to record one and get it out to you that morning. And so since we are wrapping it up, what I can't let go of this week is my dream life. Being pregnant, I knew that I would have more crazy dreams, and I usually do have crazy dreams anyway, but all of the ones recently have been teaching related. And I'm not teaching in the fall. I'm taking a break from teaching for a while, but they've all been like about me as a bad teacher, and I don't know what that says about me and my subconscious, but it's been frightening to wake up and like realize that I'm okay, and that I'm not in a classroom of 30 kids, and that I haven't messed anything up yet. But that's what I can't let go of, because it's just been bizarre to me that has been the theme of the crazy dreams for the past few weeks. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, I will see you next week. Bye guys.